What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video of the Point After Podcast. Here today discussing TCU versus Oklahoma State. This is a letdown spot for TCU. You're coming off of a huge road victory against Kansas last weekend where they basically took you down to the wire and you had to pull off a incredible performance to beat Kansas. Now, not only did you have to beat them, you had to beat their crowd, you had to beat their backup quarterback who played lights out in place of Jalen Daniels. Overall, it was a really good performance out of TCU against a really good Kansas team. Kansas is a somehow underdog to Oklahoma this week. I don't really know how that works, but if I do a preview video on that one, I'm definitely taking Kansas to win that game. Oklahoma is terrible. Oklahoma is 3-9, 4-8, top bad. So. But this game, Oklahoma State and TCU, the teams are pretty even, and I mean pretty even. Both 5-0, both 2-0. It's a top 15 game, 46.4 points per game each. TCU's put up 530 yards of offense. The offensive efficiency for TCU is what's really keeping me on the Horned Frog wagon. Oklahoma put up 469 yards, passing for 310, rushing for 158. TCU's passing for 299 and rushing for 230. Third down conversion percentage, again, TCU being really efficient on offense. They're converting 1 out of every 2 times on third down. Oklahoma State's converting 4 out of every 10, 2 out of every 5. Third down defense, TCU's getting a stop 61% of the time. Oklahoma State's getting a stop 73% of the time. Red zone offense, both teams are converting basically over 85%. I think Oklahoma State's like 22 for 24, and TCU's like 18 for 22, something like that. Red zone defense is where the teams are struggling. TCU is getting a stop 19% of the time. Oklahoma State's getting 13% of the time. That's 103rd in the country. Or like 99. I think they were tied for 99s. Sacks allowed. TCU's been sacked 7 times. Oklahoma State's been sacked 6. Turnover margin, TCU +4, Oklahoma State +1. I don't think there's any huge injuries in this game. Like Duggan's playing, Sanders is playing. Both top wide receivers, Johnston and Johnson, are playing with, they got 43 combined catches and 4 combined touchdowns with over 600 yards. Richardson for Oklahoma State, Dominic Richardson, 86 carries, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns. Miller for TCU has 474 and 6. So this is it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. I'm not sure what the over-under is. Over-under set at 68. If I'm probably gonna stay away from the over/under in this, because that's very tempting. We very well could have a very high-scoring game. I don't think these teams are gonna turn the ball over a lot. I think they're gonna be both very efficient. Duggan's 93 for 127. Sanders is 104 for 169. Sanders has also rushed for 6 touchdowns already at this point in the season. He's through for 12. Duggan's through for 14. I don't even think he played the first half against Colorado. But this game to me is really just going to come down to who's more efficient on offense. Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders, his turnover prone-esque, but he does enough with his feet to keep them in it and give them chances to win the game. Max Duggan has played lights out since he got the starting nod in week number 2. It's just, this game to me is basically efficiency. Who can make the most of their opportunities? The teams are really even. I mean, as you can tell, the defenses are both kind of suspect, but the offenses are both really good. TCU's got the home crowd, but like I said, they're coming off of a big road win against Kansas. That's a letdown spot for TCU. Oklahoma State's coming off of a home victory against Texas Tech and a road victory against Baylor. Now, the question is how good are those teams truly? Now, TCU really hasn't played anybody outside of Kansas either. But Kansas is a really good football team who lost their starting quarterback. Now, their backup quarterback played very freaking good, just like Texas Tech did against Oklahoma State last week. Their backup quarterback, the freshman, I think Morton is his name, he played really good. Baylor struggled, but Oklahoma State took care of business. I took Oklahoma State to win that game. And I want to say I took their spread even at like -9.5 or maybe an alt to -8, something like that. So Oklahoma State got the job done as an underdog on the road. TCU got the job done against Oklahoma, who's really not good, but that's not the point. They're still pretty decent offensively with Dalen Gabriel in the game, and they made Oklahoma look like a freaking Pee Wee football team. Kansas, another road victory for TCU. That's really the only game we have to talk about with TCU in this. We haven't really seen much out of TCU, but I've seen enough to feel confident in picking them to win. And honestly, I think if they win, they cover. I would probably just go straight money line, maybe go half and half, half spread, half money line, something like that. Oklahoma State, I don't think you just straight up cover this one. It's kind of the same situation. If you win, you're going to cover, obviously, but I think if you lose, you're not going to cover. I think it's going to take a victory for you to cover. And can they cover? Absolutely. They have a really dominant defensive line. Probably the best defensive line they've had in a few years. They've got a quarterback who's decent. He's good enough to win you this football game, but so is Max Duggan. And Sonny Dykes has a staff that they know what they're doing. Oklahoma State's still breaking in a new defensive coordinator. Mike Gundy is really, really good offensively. This is going to be a very, very even game, a very high-paced, fun game to watch. This game's at 2:30 Central Time. So basically, what I said in the the last video I did with Penn State, Michigan. Watch the Penn State, Michigan game at 11, and go to this game, get this game up on one monitor, get the Alabama TCU game up on another, and then you got all kinds of other games going on. We got LSU, Florida, Clemson, North Carolina, or Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina State, and Syracuse, Arkansas, BYU, Mississippi State, Kentucky, USC versus Utah with the nightcap. This is a football Saturday where you do not want to leave the couch. I've got a wedding. Screw fall weddings. Do not get married in the fall. Word of advice. But thank you guys for tuning into the video. Let me know in the comment section how you guys see this game panning out. I'm rocking with the Horned Frogs. I'm just going to ride this wagon until the wheels fall off. Not truly impressed with Oklahoma State. I don't think they win the Big 12. I think Texas is the best team in the Big 12 currently with Ewers at quarterback. They've got a rough road to get there. They still got to basically win out and hope some other pieces fall where they may. But let me know in the comment section how you guys see this game panning out. I'm taking the Horned Frogs. I like Oklahoma State's chances to keep it close, but I think ultimately TCU gets the job done. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next week.